Hello.
Hi, Madeline. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I've got the meeting room.
Excellent. You kind of have to have a secluded area to have a conversation like this.
Yeah, I do.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today, and I gotta apologize for not sending you a dick pic.
Oh, was it you who was supposed to?
No, well, not me. I have too many
Okay.
tattoos. I have too many identifying features all over my body. But my co-host, who's a very sex positive, adventurous, so to speak, fella, was like
Yeah.
totally down for it like a week ago. But when it came down to put your
Oh,
cards on the table, grab your phone, take a picture of
yeah.
your dick. He
Yeah.
he was like, no, he demurred. I think he was a little too modest. Do you find that happening? Do you know a lot of guys that are like, there's no way I would ever do that?
Yeah, I do hear it quite a lot. I guess especially if you're not going to be super, super anonymous.
Well,
Yeah.
the guys that send pics to your site, though, I mean, they know you're going to post it to your blog, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. They know, and a lot of them don't care. Like you mentioned, having quite distinctive tattoos. Well, I've got actually a repeat submitter who's got very distinctive tattoos and who, just doesn't care, just loves to get it out.
Wow. Does he show his face?
No, he doesn't show his face, but some do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you have a repeat dick pic sender. So does he expect you to post it to his site, your site repeatedly, or does he just want to keep sending you pictures of his dick?
No, I think he wants to be on the site. I have two, actually. No, yeah, two main repeat submitters, and they're both quite good. So they've
Oh.
both got A's in the past, and so now they can't stop. It's like they're addicted.
So tell me, what inspired you to start a site what inspired you to critique penis pictures?
Well, so it came against a backdrop of, I suppose, being a millennial woman who spends quite a lot of time on the internet and had received a whole lot of terrible unsolicited dick pics. But the kind of turning point when I decided to start the site was receiving a really good dick pic. So this was like a person I was seeing in my personal life, and it was over Snapchat. So I got this unusually good dick pic. And I was kind of talking about it with some of my friends, and we were like, it's actually so unusual to get one that's good, and it's jarring because, compared to most of them, they're just cringeworthy and they're unsolicited and nobody really wants a bar of them. So we were just laughing and saying, maybe we need to start some kind of public service. And then just completely as a joke, I started the blog that afternoon. And then it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's really witty and insightful, actually. And I do think you are doing a service because most guys, I don't even think they put any thought into sending a picture of their penis, especially the guys that do it unsolicited. Which kind of leads me to my next question: why? What would possess a guy to send an unsolicited dick pic to a woman? What's the thought process?
I mean, obviously, I'm not privy to the exact thought process, but I was talking about this the other day, and I think really it just comes down to some kind of validation. Like often women receive dick pics and unsolicited dick pics, and they receive it as quite hostile, like it's some kind of power play or something like that. But I think often men are quite insecure and just want to sort of, put themselves out there and be like, this is how big my dick is. Like, if you wanted to sleep with me, this is what we'd be working with.
This is what you're going to get, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And can you please tell me now that it's good? Please.
I've always had a theory. Do women tend to, when they get unsolicited dick pics, do they tend to file it like in a folder on their phone and just pull it out to show their friends so you guys can all have a big laugh over coffee?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes if it's like an especially funny or like particularly bad one. But honestly, I think most of the time we just roll our eyes and just send it straight to trash.
Delete.
Yeah.
So when is it appropriate to send a dick pic?
Well, I think I like to constantly stress that we need to change this culture of dick pics being sent in an unsolicited way. So you should only really be sending a dick pic to someone who wants to see one. So if you're seeing someone and you're sharing nudes, maybe she's sent you a nude, that could be an appropriate time to be like, oh, okay, well, how would you feel if I sent you a dick pic?
Yeah, or the only time I've ever done it, and I've only done it once, is when I've been in a relationship with a girl and she actually requested it. She was like, "Will you send me your dick, and I'll send you a picture." I'm like, "Okay." We were in a long distance relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So like, if you're being asked for one, sure.
Yeah.
if that actually ever happens to you, or if you've got this burning desire to send someone a dick pic, then you should totally be checking first that they actually want to see it.
I do think it's a millennial thing. I'm a little older than that, and in my generation, we didn't grow up with phones. Like we didn't have an iPhone with a camera on it, and honestly, I never would have even thought about doing. I'm not going to take a Polaroid of my dick and then mail it to you. So I do think it's a millennial thing. But I wonder, do you think it's just a fad? Or do you think it's going to get worse over time? Like, 50 years from now, it's like, oh, we met because he sent a picture of his dick. If they hear, senior citizens talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, will it get worse? I suppose it depends if you think it's like a terrible phenomenon. I think it's going to get more prevalent for sure. I don't think it's something that's just a fad that's going to kind of go anything. We've got Instagram stories and Snapchat and all this technology that makes it super easy to send naked pictures. So I think dick pics are definitely here to stay, but hopefully we can kind of change that culture around them, that they're just this like horrible thing that unsuspecting women open their phones and see.
And be frightened of it. So, well, hopefully you're changing that culture with your site. So tell me, what is the formula for a decent dick pic?
I mean, there's no precise formula, but there are certain mistakes that men. I mean, I don't just restrict the site to men, so anyone can submit a dick pic, but obviously it's normally men. Yeah. And one thing they consistently do wrong is be way too zoomed in. It's just literally just the dick itself with no surrounding detail. And that's almost never appealing or attractive. So I constantly find myself saying, why don't you zoom out a little bit and include some of the rest of your body, play around with some more interesting angles. And then apart from that, it's kind of the same principles as taking a good picture of a meal or a face or anything else. You
lighting
want
and composition.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you like it when people have like weird things in the background, kind of spice it up? Maybe a Michael McDonald record, like an album cover.
No, not particularly. I mean, I like for the background to be pretty undistracting, and I say that quite a lot. Like it's particularly bad if there's a whole lot of dirty laundry or rubbish in the background that you can see, or sort of random iPhone chargers.
My favorite is a filthy mattress without a sheet. Like it's like you don't even have your fitted sheet on your mattress. It's just a dirty stained mattress.
Yeah, I got a submission like that, and it was otherwise quite good, but he didn't have a sheet on his bed, and I made a real point of saying that. I was like, dude, come on. I mean, you're actually doing quite well here, but why on earth would you look at this and not think, I should have maybe had a sheet here. Yeah.
It's funny, though, because a lot of men, a lot of guys, I mean, I guess I did too when I was younger. It's like I just had a futon on the ground and just like one sheet. That's all I owned, one sheet. And I think no woman wants to like go to a guy's house and see a mattress on the ground with one sheet.
No, exactly. I mean, you said, do we talk to each other about dick pics and laugh at them? Not so much, but one thing we truly do talk about and laugh at is the appalling state of the bedding of men in their 20s and 30s.
It's
so
true.
Bad.
It took a living girlfriend to change that for me.
Yeah.
She was just like, first thing you got to do is you're going to buy a fucking bed.
Yeah,
like, okay.
Totally.
All right.
Thank God for living girlfriends.
So, have you ever been paid to like critique a dick and then just been like, I can't do this. There's no way. It's too bad. I would give you an F-.
No, I'll, if somebody has paid and therefore they get a guaranteed review, I'll review it no matter how bad it is. But I'm not going to give you any special treatment, So even if you've paid the $25 for a guaranteed review or $10 for a private review, I'm just going to hit you with the complete truth if your dick pic's awful.
It could be brutal. You should expect that. So how many submissions do you get a day on average?
It varies a little bit, but I usually get about 100 or 200 a week.
Wow.
So I guess, sort of 20 a day. Yeah. Yeah. My inbox is not always pleasant, but always very full.
So is this like, so you have a daytime job, a full-time job, and so this is like your hobby. So you go home, you're like, okay, I got to go check my inbox and look at some dicks tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So my background is actually as a lawyer.
Oh.
But now I'm working in kind of media, I guess. So I'm working as an editor. Huh. But yeah, this is like a side gig, side hustle.
Did you ever expect it to get as popular as it is?
No, I never did. I mean, like I said before, I truly just started it as kind of an in-joke between a few friends, and it kind of
just blew up.
Yeah, it just blew up. It like really sort of touched something in people that was needing to be, talked about or explored a little bit more.
So have you ever reviewed a guy's dick and gave it a bad grade because you're giving it an honest review? And then have you ever received like misogynistic or negative reactions, like negative email?
No, actually, this is one of the most surprising things for me about the site is that I've received very little negative pushback in that sense, which is surprising because, I have like a pretty big Twitter account and I get a whole lot of shit there. But I think that maybe it's because sometimes people aren't sure that I'm a woman. So if you know about me and my writing and my Twitter kind of account, you'll know that I'm female. But if you just go to critique my dick pic, you won't necessarily know that I'm a woman. And I sometimes get emails from guys saying, are you a dude or a lady? Because I don't want to send my dick pic to a dude.
So do you have to verify it? Do you send a picture back being like, I'm a woman?
Well, I usually say, why does it matter? And, I don't care if any particular person doesn't send their dick pic in. So
it's like, sorry, okay, sexually insecure man. Send your dick pic elsewhere.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think that protects me from a lot of the misogyny that I might get if it was obvious on the site that I'm a woman.
Yeah, I can understand that. What about from the other side? What about from feminists? Like, I was speaking to a friend about your site the other day, and she was saying that she was a bit appalled by it. And she was like, she's only encouraging men to continue sending dick pics unsolicited to women, like, because now they can do proper lighting with it and just send that. She's like, it's not solving this problem. And I was like, you're not getting the site. But we got an argument about it.
I do hear that sometimes, and I think it's always from people who only have a very surface level understanding of the site and what I'm doing. And whenever I do an interview or talk about a submission that was received unsolicited, I always stress the importance of consent. And so I get quite frustrated with that. Like sometimes I see comments that are like, well, just don't ever send a dick pic. And I don't know if that's the solution, because there are women out there who do like dick pics, but they just don't want to be bombarded with them, in an unsuspecting kind of way.
No,
so,
true.
it's not really up to people who don't like receiving dick pics to, I don't know, spoil the fun for everyone, I suppose.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if it's a mutual thing, and if a woman's requesting it, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
And at least you're teaching someone how to take a decent one. Give some artistic value to it.
Yeah, totally.
So,
totally.
So what do your boyfriends think of your hobby here? Like, do they ever get jealous, or do they help you out?
No. Almost all of the time when I tell people that I date about the site, they find it hilarious and they just want to know more, and they think it's, like really cool and funny. I did go on one date with one guy who I told about it, and he got weirdly kind of quiet for a while. And then he just kept asking so many questions, like, oh, like, you must just see like a lot of really big dicks, right? Like, you must see really big dicks all the time. And I was like, yeah, but like, if you read the site, you can see that's not my focus, and I'm not talking about the size of the dicks. I'm just, it's like, it's a fun, positive project. And he was just obviously spooked by it.
Do your parents know about this?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, they do. So I did an interview I'm from New Zealand, and I did an interview with a relatively well-known New Zealand presenter. And until that point, I hadn't felt like they particularly needed to know. But then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be on, the Kim Hill show, and I got in touch. And yeah. And then apparently my grandparents listened to the interview. So everybody knows.
So on holidays, do they bring it up? Like, hey, you getting any good dicks today?
No, fortunately they don't. They know it's something I do, and we don't need to particularly go into it.
Oh, Madeleine, she's so eccentric. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, do you ever think about writing a coffee table book or do a documentary on it?
Yeah, actually, a book is in the works. So there may be a coffee table book pretty soon, if that's the kind of thing you want lying around in your house.
I could see that being popular, like Urban Outfitters or an Amazon. That's like a great Christmas gift for somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's educational. So, Madeleine, I admire your mission. And people, you can go check out, or actually, people, you could submit a decent dick pic to Madeleine, and she will grade your penis at critiquemydickpic.tumblr.com. And you can also reach Madeleine at her Twitter, which is at MOSCaddy. So, Madeleine, thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is Jim Rose of the Jim Rose Circus, and before I put my face in broken glass and let somebody stomp on the back of my head, I have to listen to Sick and Wrong.